We had traveled thousands of miles to the middle of nowhere in Siberia to see this man, Vissarion, address his congregation on what they call the holiday of good fruits. It was sort of spooky. Vissarion's making his way down now. Very slowly, very Christ-like. And just as Vissarion was about to share some infallible nuggets of wisdom, they made us turn off the camera. After giving a short sermon in hushed tones, Vissarion blessed bread made by the community for the ensuing feast and bid his followers farewell. So we just have finished the sermon with the teacher, and Nina's going to translate a little bit for us of what was said.
I remember exactly his first phrase. I'm glad that you still survive. Yes, it was everybody was laughing. Yeah, and then he spoke about that we all of us are pupils,
and
in the school of life.
We are all pupils in the school of life? I guess that's true, but I'm not sure it provided me with any answers. I'm going to see if we can interview some pilgrims, some people that came to see Vissarion from afar. What is your feelings about Vissarion?
Такой друг, настоящий друг, да, дает, чем я хочу жить.
Why did you make the journey here today?
Здесь мое место. Это, чтобы это понять, нужно это почувствовать. Поэтому словами это не скажешь.
How did you first hear about the teacher?
Впервые прочитал журнал «Сигун и спорт». Я почувствовал большую силу в этих.
Compared to years past, does he seem happy? Does he seem in good spirits?
Мне кажется, о нем вообще сложно сказать, применить к нему какие-то вот наши обычные настроения. Сколько с ним вот общаешься, ощущение, что он в каком-то своем состоянии пребывает. Он хоть и рядом, но он где-то далеко.
After the liturgy, we ran into our Polish friend Maciek. How do you feel? I mean, do you feel that there's something about him that's beyond human?
I don't want to insult anybody, but I don't, no. I feel it's an interesting place and an interesting person, and I think these people around here want to live a good life. And I do appreciate that, but I don't perceive him as a divine.
After mingling with some members of the congregation, I headed to bed to rest up for the next day and my big interview with Vissarion. There's a lot of stars tonight. I was talking with Slava about the beautiful and clear nighttime sky when he told me that stars weren't the only things up there.
Sometimes we see it.
You've seen UFOs?
I see one time
What did it look like?
a big object, triangle, and in a corner 3 spheres.
3 spheres. Yeah, okay.
Other people
See it,
too.
yeah? The next morning, we got up bright and early and took a secret path to Vissarion's home. So we're finally here at the teacher's house and going to interview a man that many people believe to be the Word of God. I suddenly became very anxious about my meeting with the teacher. What if I actually had an audience with someone who is the Word and perhaps flesh of God? Rocco. Why did you agree to an interview with me? Because I know that you haven't for quite a bit.
Не знаю.
Are you regretting it now? Okay. I wanted to know about Russia. Was it a coincidence or was it just happenstance that this community came to be around the same time as the fall of Soviet Union?
Нет, это не случайно. В этот период должна была появиться свобода вероисповедания, иначе было бы сложно. Нужны были серьезные изменения в обществе, которые выбьют привычную основу из-под ног. Нужно, чтобы к этому времени человек испытал жажду в поиске духовных истин.
I think I understood what he was saying, but I was struggling with how to tactfully ask someone who looks like Jesus if he's the Son of God without coming out and saying it. You're very Christ-like in your appearance. I'll say it this way. Do you have memories of Christ from 2,000 years ago? Do you carry on in that way, in that lineage?
Что есть память чувственная и есть память сознания. Сохранять тело с характерным сознанием нет смысла, потому что это характерное формируется благоприятно для сознания своего времени, когда нужно в каком-то теле появиться на Земле. А так как появление на Земле не требуется делать очень часто, а будут большие интервалы.
That's probably as close to a yes as I was going to get. It seems like the world is, there's lots of riots, there's uprisings. Is the turmoil and conflict in the world right now worse than you've experienced?
Сейчас можно будет смело сказать, что 80% населения Земли имеют серьезное психическое отклонение. Но эти люди имеют оружие на руках, а это растет дальше. Поэтому там, где слабее, там начнет быстрее все взрываться психологически.
Was Vissarion talking about Armageddon? Naturally, I was curious as to when that might happen. Is that coming soon?
Смотря по каким меркам. Хотелось бы, чтобы быстрее закончилась та дикость, которая так сильно проявляется.
Talk about dancing around the subject. I switched gears and, remembering Slava's extraterrestrial encounter, asked him about the church's stance on what they call the outer space mind.
Внеземной мир не имеет духовной ткани. Поэтому научно-технический прогресс для них – это естественная форма развития. Пик развития человеческой цивилизации и момент судьбоносного выбора перед человеком должен был совпасть с моментом изменения геофизической всей структуры Земли.
I have to admit, Vissarion lost me somewhere in between the end times and soulless aliens. Still, I could see how his followers could really get into this stuff. It's a hell of a lot more interesting than Adam and Eve and the crucifixion. The teacher's handlers signaled that it was time to wrap up, but I was determined to slip in a few simple questions that, with any luck, would be answered in a straightforward manner. How about food? What's your favorite dish to eat?
Мне сложно так будет что-то такое рассказать понятное. Немножко по-другому у меня воспринимается все.
A man without penchant, which apparently extended to answering questions in a fashion that I could understand. But this was my last shot. At the very least, maybe I could glean something about the purity of my own being. Just meeting me briefly, can you tell me anything about my soul?
Так нельзя говорить, характеристики какие-то, их нельзя назвать. Я могу чувствовать человека, но что в этом случае хочется услышать?
So, last question. If you could tell one piece of advice that our viewers here could follow relatively easily, what would it be?
Не стремиться быть первым среди тех, с кем живешь. Это стремление, которое ведет к гибели.
Okay. I'm not sure if I was supposed to or not, but there was no way I was leaving without a photo, so I hopped right in there. So, we finished our journey here, going back to New York City and pollution and terrible people. In other words, all the things that I find weirdly comforting. What can I say? I'm a man of modern convenience. But if it ever gets too much for me, if the scum of humanity becomes so sticky and viscous that I can't scrub it off, I know there's a place where I can drop out and be at peace. And the next time someone complains to me that everything sucks, or our problems are unsolvable, I'll just tell them, there's this place you can go in Siberia, where they'll accept you with open arms. A place where the children run free, where the earth provides everything you need, and where money is
今回の映像いかがでしたか？バイスの映像には右上にロゴが出ていると思うんですけれども、そこをクリックでチャンネルの登録ができます。忘れずにしてください。また会いましょう。